So I'm so glad to be sitting here with you because I loved working with you. There are very few people that will do a little behind the scenes maybe, because that's kind of what this is. No set. I love this. Don't have to like cue to a break or anything. We can even talk about that. But when we worked together, we would develop some video segments, and then we would like say, Stuart, put some music to this, or make this work. So you would look at it.
I couldn't say no.
Well, yeah, you couldn't say no. Did you want to say no?
No, not at all.
Oh, you promise? Okay, well, I mean, I guess you could admit that now. But anyway, we would say, would you put some music to this? And so you would just like...
I did. It was my job.
But it was more than a job. You didn't just go to the keyboard and go,
No.
something like that. I mean, you went to the keyboard and you could just like immediately come up with something that fit with that video. Just like right there.
Yeah, it was a combination of a lot of great things. I mean, we had great people working on great videos, and I think that helped. It played its part in the summing up of everything.
Well, and it was a key part, and I kind of miss that. Now I know that when we worked together, you were newly married.
I was.
Yes.
I had just gotten married.
I think so. I think it was just like within.
It was within months.
A month or so.
It was. I remember being told that before I got married, I needed to get a job.
Well, someone told you that? It wasn't me.
It was not.
No. And so
it was my
did.
pastor.
Well, I'm really glad because we got you.
Yeah.
And
it was a great season.
You're very, very talented. I remember you coming in, and if I'd say, "How's Alice?" and like this beam. And then my kids were very young then. Yeah. And so then years later, it's like, we're going to have a baby. And that was Archer. And then there was Sleepless Nights.
Yes, just for a little bit.
You remember that?
I do.
And then came along Scarlett later.
Yes.
Well, those were good days. I really enjoyed working with you. And so I was challenged to sing a song that I wrote 34, 35, or 36 years ago. I can't remember, a long time ago. And it's kind of like when I was, very young, wasn't even in my 20s yet. And so I wanted you to come and do that with me because I wouldn't feel so awkward, because you used to help me back then.
I did.
So thanks for being here today.
No problem.
And you and your wife are on worship team for Cornerstone.
Yes.
And how's that going?
It's going better than ever. We are in the seasons and the eras change, and we are in a good era. Music is always trending, and it's kind of in a certain place now, and our pastor is letting us explore that avenue.
When you say trending, talk about it for a second.
Just the trend at which music goes into. It kind of goes between genres.
Yes.
And in a given year, a genre will be more popular than another. So right now, I feel like music as it relates to worship is really trending towards youthfulness and refreshing and high energy.
Yes.
And it's just really, it's really fun. We've seen just kind of a movement of this type of music being introduced to the church. And I think that to some extent when it was introduced, I think that the youth might have been the intention, but that was not the case. I mean, when the youthful, fresh, synthy music was brought in, I feel like kind of the world caught the attention of it, and it's just what's being played.
Okay, but being decades older than you, I love the fact that they brought in When I Survey the Wondrous Cross, and some of the music actually draws from the old hymns that I grew up with, and it kind of does some crossover, and then there's a nice look back sometimes in some of the current movement music, and that's always nice for somebody that's older like me, so you don't leave me behind.
Yes. No. We definitely implement that too.
Yeah. So, and I love Cornerstone, as I've said before, and you're on another show with your wife, another People Like You episode, and you're doing some worship, you're singing and bringing us into the feeling of worship. So we'll reference that right now so people can look for that.
Okay.
I wrote this back in the older genre.
Tell me, elaborate.
Well, when I was younger, my sister and I did some singing, and we worked, but we were called the Chris Sisters, and we sang, and we were involved in drama and lots of different things. But I think in the episode that you did with Alice, you talked about how kind of, you may have a plan or you may think, but God has a plan. And looking back over the years, how He used all these different elements in my life that I thought were just periods of time, that I was just waiting on Him, or I was just preparing for something else. How when I look back over all those years, even back as a young teenager, how He used those skills and those moments in my life to even prepare me for today. And how things sometimes might look like a mistake, or I'm just hanging out waiting for His direction. Oftentimes you're right in the middle of it and you just don't realize it. So a lot of the experiences I had in drama and creativity and the music when I was younger, believe it or not, when I was in high school, I sang high tenor. So my voice was so low that I would sing tenor a lot of the times, and they'd throw me in soprano, but not often. But there was a lot of music in the background a long time ago. So I would write. That was when I wanted to really get with the Lord. I would kind of close my door, get in my room or get on my keyboard, and I just write. And I felt like I would get to a different place. You've shared about worship and where that takes you, right? Yeah.
I have.
So
It does.
I used to do that, and I wrote some songs. In fact, the other day, a song I wrote came to my mind, and my songs, no bridges, nothing. They're more like an ode, like a chorus or something. But that song talked about "Forgive Me One More Time." Is basically kind of the theme of it. And it's just a prayer where I'm asking the Lord to just forgive me, again. And it talks about as I go these last few miles. Well, at 18, I didn't have last few miles. So when I was 18, the first part of the song really ministered to me more. And I saw myself actually start crying when I was singing this, when I got to those words about, as I go these last few miles, give me joy to face each trial, and before I end my prayer, I give you everything. So I found a lot of enjoyment in it, but it did go by the wayside over the years as I got more involved in the Christian television ministry on the business side. So I left a lot of that. I've been challenged by some of our viewers to sing a song I wrote for my wedding. I was just having some coffee with a very dear friend who watches the station, and she had a keyboard, and while she was getting our tea, I think, together, I went and sat at the keyboard and played. So she has been for almost now 2 years wanting me to do this, so we asked you to come in today and help me out. In seconds you lowered the key because I can't even sing what I wrote 3 decades ago. The other point I want to make is 2 years ago, actually, I have dealt with a lot of allergies. Back in 1998, I was actually in Nepal with my husband. We were doing some traveling for work and co-producing some videos, and we were in Nepal, and I caught a bug there. And when I came home, I had hives, and we could not rid me of hives. For 6 months, the doctors tried to rid me of hives. And if you have those covered all over your body, they drive you crazy. So finally, after seeing some allergists, they indicated that I have allergies, which they're right, because when I was 5, I was healed from a lot of things. I couldn't wear wool, I couldn't eat certain things. I actually was on my way to the hospital, and the Lord healed me before I was 5. However, some of those things were in the background. So I still had some allergies, but not like to the point I couldn't eat. So she said, your system just decided, because of this bug you got, your system just decided that it's going to now react with hives. So you're going to have hives forever. So put you on some low-grade you know, antihistamine medicine, and you just continue that and be fine. So that was in, you know, 99. Okay, so I have taken this little bit of medicine every night, and the only time I didn't have hives when I was pregnant and had my kids. Other than that, since 99, I remember Nepal from, if I forgot my meds, then I get covered. So 2 years ago, I was in a service in the Pittsburgh, Antioch area here, and they wanted to pray for people for healing. I was sitting there praying. Also, I couldn't sing. So if I even sat at a keyboard, if I could only do like C, D, E, and anything higher than that, I had this blockage that was so bad I would start like getting dizzy because I would just couldn't get any breath. Still have some issues, but it was so blocked that if I tried to go, that was not possible. So dealing with all that. So I'm in the service, right? I'm praying for my kids. You know, Brookie's diabetic, and I'm praying for my kids. And in the midst of the service, somebody who's just there with me put his hand on my back and started praying for me. Now, I thought I was over in the corner by myself praying and nobody was around, you know, and so when they did that, I like, uh-oh, somebody noticed me over here, and I got embarrassed, but I'll tell you what happened. Immediately, and this is going to sound strange, I realize I was there thinking nothing was going to happen, so I just want to, you know, because the Lord, I do believe heals, but it's got to be Him. It can't be anybody else.
Yeah.
So I felt warmth all over me, and I thought it was embarrassment, but it wasn't. I felt warmth all over me, and then I immediately felt this blockage leave. And from that moment, I can breathe. Seems strange to people, but that's a big deal to me. And from that very moment, 2 years ago, November, I've not had to take any more medicine.
Wow.
I haven't been free of the hive medicine. So I guess what I'm saying is, still don't sing very well, but
do you accept the challenge?
I accepted the challenge, but only if you were here with me.
I'll do it.
Okay? So we're going to sing this,
Okay.
and it's one I wrote for my wedding, and it hasn't been sung in public for 34 years. Are you ready to help me out?
I am.
All right.
We will
here
do
we
it.
Father, we have gathered here to join our hearts as one, to live our lives in harmony, united in your Son. You said where 2 or 3 of us would gather in your name, the presence of your Spirit and your Son would still remain. Bring your Spirit, Lord, your precious grace, blessing and atoning power. Join us in this place, and with love only you can give. Bless each one. Oh Lord, bless each one. The glowing of a candlelight that shines beneath the sun, with one touch of its master's hand, its life has just begun. Its fire burns out its song for all the world to see. The light that shines inside our hearts will now and forever be alive and everlasting as we prepare our hearts as one to live our lives until our days are done. Bless each one. Oh Lord, bless each one. must be, Lord, your precious grace, blessing and atoning power. Join us in this place, and with love only you can give. Bless each one, oh Lord, bless each one.
Did you write that for your husband?
I suppose that's something I should clarify, isn't it? Yes, I did. When he proposed, I was thrilled. And then I spent a good, year praying to make sure, okay, Lord, I want this to be your will, not mine. So it's, you can get caught up. And it's like you can try to make God's will your will. So it's like, yeah, this is God, But I wanted to make sure that it was his will for my life. So we prayed about it for a while. And it was honestly during those times of prayer that the song kind of came to me for the wedding. And I'm not certain that as I was creating the song, I knew that it would be sung there and I would sing it, but yes, I did. And Jack and I have been married since July 12th, 1980. And actually, some of our viewers were probably at the wedding. So I may hear from some of them as a result of this, now that I think about it. Many people say he deserves a medal, Stuart. He's put up with me for a long time.
He does deserve him. He does.
And how long have you been married?
10.5 years.
Okay, so then in another 14?
14.
You write a song and come back.
Okay.
And Stuart, I just want to thank you for being with us and just, showing all your great talents. Like 5 seconds before we went on the air, you lowered that key for me.
Anytime.
And
David.
I think you just got the music last night. So thank you so much.
You're very
And if we
welcome.
attend Cornerstone in San Francisco, we can
Let's say
experience that.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Thanks for being with us today. Join us again for another episode of People Like You.